1. Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2. Get some good, some food in you. Step 3. Think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4. Everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. You always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flaws, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2. Get some good, some food in you. Step 3. Think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4. Everybody just do your thing.
Hi, Bullhorn Betty. Thank you for my shirt. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Kids Club.
Hey guys, Bullhorn Betty here. So there's something going on in my community and I need your help with. So this is a double homicide that happened in my community, but there's a lot more to this case than meets the eye. This is Thomas Matajek. He actually killed his mother and her boyfriend recently, but the problem here is he shouldn't even have been out of jail. He should have been in a mental hospital, and he is deemed incompetent to stand trial. This right here is our state attorney, and his name is Ed Brodsky. He has been our state attorney in the 12th district for some time. I recently learned our law enforcement officer, Sheriff Rick Wells, has arrested this guy many times and has prepared a case and sent that over to the state prosecutor. Ed Brodsky was supposed to litigate the matter. However, he ended up taking the felony case, reducing it to a misdemeanor, sending it to a misdemeanor court, and then just a month ago sent this deranged mental patient to a halfway house where he escaped and killed his mother. How can you help Bullhorn Betty? You can help Bullhorn Betty by saying, we will not accept this. This is unacceptable. Our law enforcement does their job and they send it over to the prosecutors just to let them go. Now, 2 people in my own backyard have lost their life because of these horrible and poor decisions at the hand of the state prosecutor, not law enforcement. So please, I ask you, is this going to be acceptable in your community as well? This is how you can help. If this case bothers you, if it disgusts you, if you realize 2 people should not be laying in the morgue right now, please consider giving Ed Brodsky a call and letting him know this is unacceptable from any state prosecutor. We're learning today that 2 have been arrested in connection with the triple homicide out in San Antonio, Texas. This is the case of Savanah Soto, Matthew Guerra, and their unborn child, baby Fabian. They were gunned down and dumped at an apartment complex and were located on December 26th.
It was a heinous act. It was unspeakable, the tragedy of it. When we talk about the manner of death has not been determined, the manner meaning, was it a suicide or was it a murder?
You said that ME said that for Matthew Guerra it was a gunshot wound to the head, but when we called them, they said it's a contact gunshot wound. What does that mean?
It means that it was there.
However, with new evidence and new information coming forward, we have learned that they died on the 21st in early morning hours leading into the 22nd. It was right before midnight when the car was dumped in that video that you just saw. What we've learned since then is that this is potentially a drug deal that has gone wrong. This is a robbery homicide because everything happened from execution to dumping the car in less than 10 minutes, according to the affidavit. Let me know what your thoughts are. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe here on TikTok to Bullhorn Betty. And don't forget, I have another channel. It is on YouTube. Please consider going over to Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories to get the latest and greatest on the up-to-date true crime news. Some breaking news in the Savanah Soto case. Savanah Soto was a pregnant 18-year-old mom-to-be, and she was reported missing on December 23rd. We also learned that her boyfriend, Matthew Guerra, was also missing at the time of her disappearance. Due to an altercation, many people thought he was responsible for her disappearance. He soon found out that to be different. Christopher and Ramon Preciado were arrested in connection with the death of baby Fabian, Matthew Guerra, and Savanah Soto. Rumors had it that during the investigation, Matthew Guerra's phone was not found. That is not true. Take a listen. So we learned this morning that Matthew Guerra's phone appears to be with law enforcement. I don't know quite how we missed this, but I want you to check this out.
Detectives learned that both victims were involved in the sale of narcotics and used their cell phones to conduct much of their business. Detectives collected the victims' phones.
Did you clearly hear that police chief said both their phones are in their possession, custody, and control? Not verbatim, but check this out one more time.
Detectives collected the victims' phones.
So now that we know law enforcement not only has Savanah Soto's phone, they also have Matthew's phone.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
It's nice to see you. Happy hump day to everyone out there. This case with Savanah Soto, Matthew Guerra, the 2 Preciados that were arrested, Christopher and Ramon, has us all going absolutely crazy on social media. So much so, everybody's talking about it, right? Misinformation station, right? Right? So we're going to be breaking down this case. We're going to go through all the facts of the case as we know them, and we are going to what? Speculate. Boo! Boo! That's what we do, okay? I'm Bullhorn Betty. This is Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories, and we are going to get into what we know so far as we lead up to the topic of conversation. The topic of conversation this morning is whose gun was used. It has been the topic of conversation on social media since the date of arrest and our knowledge that the gun had been found. So good morning, Luteens. It's nice to see you. Jules, Darcy Miller is up in the house. We have MJ, Drew. It's nice to see you. I hear you've got some hot cocoa, potentially with marshmallows going on there. And, you know, Drew, I have to be honest with you. I'm not familiar with who you are. You might have been here once upon a time. You might be new to the channel. I don't know. I don't know. What I do know is we share up in here. We share, okay? So if you're making yourself hot cocoa, okay, and let me, it's all about do as I say, not as I do. So I don't share my coffee, okay? I don't share my coffee. I don't pimp out my coffee to the channel, but whenever we have hot cocoa and marshmallows, I'm sorry. You just got to share. It's the rules of the chat because we have one rule here. And by not sharing your hot cocoa and your marshmallows, you are breaking the cardinal rule on the Bullhorn Betty channel. I just have to let you know. It's nice to see you. Crystal Lynn, good morning. Miss P's Creations. It's nice to see you, love. Our beautiful Real Me 2's up in the house. Right. Oh, here, let me do. Oh, wrong one. Here we go. Crowd cheer. There we go. There we go. She's been keeping Bullhorn Betty straight behind the scenes. You don't understand. Like, her and I, like, we're ready to put the boxing gloves on it and go into the ring. Just joking. It's me, Jen. It's nice to see you. Bye, you, babe. It's great to see you and have you here. Our beautiful Sonia is up in the house, always making sure that Bullhorn Betty has all those snazzy shirts, right? Right? So get over there, get your snazzy shirt from our beautiful Sonia. Thank you, Sonia, for all your great work you do here. Second thesis, Pebbles. Nice to see you, love bug. Jules up in the house. I think I've already said hi to Jules like 15 times. You guys talk too much. I don't know if you noticed this, but you guys just talk too much. Okay. You guys are starting to make me want to go to the padded room. Good morning, Cranky Pants. I know Cranky Pants is not cranky this morning because, I'm not cranky this morning, right? It's nice to see you. It's nice to see you. Tammy, it's nice to see you. Who else do we have? I think we got everybody. If I haven't seen you, if I haven't said good morning to you guys, it's not that you're not important to me. You guys are all important to me, and what we go over and how we do it is very important. Look who we got. We got BZ up in the house. We got Big Boy. Big Boy, I'm sorry. I'm not wearing my pigtails, okay? You're just going to have to deal with me all professional and stuff, right? All professional. We know I am not professional. Come on. Why does it do this? I hate this phone. I do. There it is. There it is. Not professional at all. Who said we have to be professional over here? Tammy Crimes, it's nice to see you, love bug. Jimmy, Julie, it's nice to see you. I noticed that I'm getting some people back in the chats. I'm starting to feel like it must be freezing in the United States because that's the only time I get your attention. It's the only time. All right, guys. Well, all the other people that I've missed coming in, I see Big Mac Mike, Stevie's mom, JB's mama. It's nice to all see you. But we're going to go ahead and get started. Pittsburgh nurse, I think I saw you. Crafty Chris. Did I just pass Crafty Chris? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Okay. So everybody else, if I missed you, I do love you. Look at that. Our beautiful Starstruck, our Crime Stories obsessed. It's nice to see you, love. Thank you. Thank you for all that information, by the way. I always love getting stuff from you. You always got it together, my friend. You always got it together. So we're going to go over a few videos, then we're going to get into the topic of conversation. This is really to bring everybody that's not familiar with this case kind of to the where we are today, because even though we're here each and every day talking about this case and we know exactly what we're talking about, there are new people that are being attracted to this case and they're trying to learn and get caught up with everything that we know. So sometimes this stuff sounds repetitive. And it's for all the new people that are coming in and wanting to learn about this case as well. So while I realize many of you know, there may be somebody that doesn't, and we don't want them feeling like they are behind the 8 ball. So we always bring everybody up to speed, and then we get into the topic of conversation. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and go through the litany of videos, and then we're going to have the conversation. I've got some information.
Matthew Guerra. Now, police believe that Christopher, the son, is the one who did the murders. That's what they believe. And they believe his father just helped him after the fact, moving the bodies. So their charges are different. Son charged with murder, dad charged with abuse of a corpse.
And you guys know I'm going to go into my diatribe that I always go into when we cover these cases and we've got a parent sitting right next to a child. If you are ever put in a situation where your child does a horrible, horrible act, you as the parent, as hard and as gut-wrenching as the task is, you are still parent. You are still parent to your child. You still, no matter how difficult life is or what life decisions you have to make, you need to make the best decision not only for your child, but for yourself and for your family. And typically, when you have to make those types of decisions, being a party to covering up a murder usually isn't the top of the list. It's usually calling law enforcement, calling an attorney, and getting your child situated to handle what is before him or her. This idea that we as parents now need to take responsibility for the actions of our children is getting a little ridiculous, because let's face it, what good is Ramon to his son at this moment? He's absolutely no help to his son when his son needs him the most. So let this be a valuable lesson to all those parents out there. Life throws you curveballs, and sometimes it's how you treat and act and behave during those curveballs that really make the difference. And this person made a terrible decision right along with his child.
Now, Savanah Soto was last seen in mid-December, one day before she was scheduled to be induced. She and her boyfriend's remains were found days.
We know that that's not the truth. We know that she was actually deceased a day before anybody thought she was. So again, this was information that we were all getting at the time. It's inaccurate as the facts that we know them, because the facts have changed.
Later, inside of his Kia Optima. We've been looking at that video since then. It's been quite puzzling. Police are saying this morning that they believe the murders are the result of a drug deal that turned deadly. I have two great guests on the program to help me break this all down. Still with me, retired.
And we're not going to go through all of those. We love Jennifer Coffindaffer, by the way. This is a Jennifer Coffindaffer friendly station. We love people that have experiences. We're not, even as the people that we are, even if we disagree with their assessment, we know that they have a lot more experience than we do. And a lot of this stuff, you know, everybody expects, I just want to say this, I just want to throw this out there. Everybody expects Jennifer Coffindaffer to have the magical secret sauce that she can just go out there and just have it all. It's not about that. It's about theories. It's about practice. It's about taking your experience and applying it to certain situations. Sometimes your theories come out and pan out. I can tell you more times than not, her theories are more spot on than just about anybody else. But there are details that are slightly off, as within any providing information. That's what she's doing. She's taking her experience, just like I just watched Police Off the Cuff. Who knows Police Off the Cuff? If you know Police Off the Cuff, throw a 1 in the chat, okay? Police Off the Cuff, great guy, right? I mean, we're not BFFs by any stretch of the imagination. I'm pretty sure he probably loathes people like me because he's an officer, right? You don't like media up your craw when you're out there on those crime scenes. I get it. So, we're not BFFs, but I can appreciate his perspective, right? Because he's been a law enforcement officer for many years. What does he say? 27 years or something like that? So I do enjoy his police perspective, even though I don't agree with some of the things that he says. And I'm sure he probably, again, loathes the work that I do, right? But that's okay. Does he get it right all the time? Of course not, because he's taking his experience from the field and advising people what may be going on. Again, what may be going on, because let's face it, even retired FBI agents don't get any more information than us, right? Does she have better resources? Of course. Does she have friends still in the field? Of course she does. Does she have a better perspective than some lame-o JMO sitting in Florida? Yes, she does. So it really upsets me when I hear people just beating her up and beating other professionals up, like the what's his name, Bill? I think his name's Bill for Police Off the Cuff, right? You will never hear me go in there and attack him for his perspective, because let's face it, Bullhorn Betty's never wore a uniform, okay? I never put the badge on my chest. I never went out there and saw the disgusting. We cover the disgusting of humanity, but we've never physically been out there working the beat like this man. So he has a very, very specific perspective that he can advise Sergeant Bill. Thank you, Bayou Babe. Thank you. And so does Jennifer Coffindaffer. She trained FBI agents. Like, there's no better person to find out this stuff from than the teacher themselves. I'm sorry, okay? It just seems like knock, knock, So it really, I personally loathe people picking on Jennifer Coffindaffer. I like Jennifer Coffindaffer. How many people... If you love Jennifer Coffindaffer, put some clappy hands in the chat. I want to put clappy hands, but I can't because I'm on here. Somebody throw some clappy hands. You know what? I'm going to give her some more. I'm going to give her some more clappy hands. Clappy hands around. Let's give her a big applause. So you know what really irritates me even more? When you have somebody like a pizza maker that's a meathead, that has barely a high school education, let alone a college education, criticizing a decorated person like Jennifer Coffindaffer. That really, really gets in my craw. I got to tell you, there's nothing, it's like nails going on a chalkboard. Like, stay away from them. Just, you want to say something? Fine. Say your opinion. Mean what you say what you mean, but you don't have to say it mean. You don't have to be disrespectful, and you don't have to be a sniveling, pompous snot nose, right? You don't have to do that. You can have integrity and actually talk like an adult. But, again, people that are typically, this is statistics, look it up, typically people with lack of education have to treat other people bad to make themselves feel better. If you don't believe it, look it up. Psychology 101. All right. Now that we're done with that, now we're going to get to this animal. And this is what really, really irks me, is that we now know that Savanah and Matthew were killed. We don't believe the crap that's coming out of Christopher Preciado's mouth about the altercation that happened, because let's face it, what he says, we listened to it and we knew it was garbage. Now you take that and you put it in practice, okay? Let's wrestle. I think we have a key to where the crime actually took place as well, potentially. But that's not the topic of conversation. That was yesterday's topic of conversation that we may revisit in the near future. Today's topic of conversation is the gun. So we're looking at the Preciados. This is what I find bizarre. Do you guys know, which we all know now, right? But except new people. He just graduated. This kid just graduated from high school. They keep saying it's the 2023 Marshall High School graduation, but I keep going and looking at the Marshall High School graduation for 2023, and I don't think it was him. I don't think it was 2023. I think it was a 2022 graduation because he's 19. So unless he was behind a year or two, he wouldn't have been graduating in 2023. He might have graduated in 2022, but I digress. Either way, whether he graduated in 2022 or he graduated in 2023, he's never committed a crime. And he's just a recent graduate within the last year of high school. And his first action out of high school is to murder 2 people, including a pregnant mom to be. It seems really odd. Whose gun was it? We're assuming it was Matthew Guerra's. But could Chris have purchased his own gun? Or could he have taken a gun from his own father, Ramon, and used that gun? We don't know. We don't know. But here's his graduation. Many people seem to be interested. I don't want to take your interest because his attitude during graduation is a little odd that I think people notated. He was almost frustrated that his family wasn't yelling for him loud enough. Let's take. That's him right there.
Christopher Ray Preciado.
Christopher Ray Preciado. People clap.
Great.
And he's like, fuck. Right? Excuse my language. Excuse my language. That wasn't my language. I was just repeating what he had said. So these young people have lost their lives. They lost their lives. And the family now says their final goodbyes to Matthew Guerra. And then we got just a couple more videos and then we're going to get started on our topic of conversation. Do you guys want to open the phones or would you guys prefer opening the panel and getting up on screen? You don't have to show your face or anything like that. I can keep just my face on it. But if you guys would prefer phones, we can do phones. If you prefer being on panel, if you prefer both, we can do both.
All right, back here at home, the family of a man who was killed along with his girlfriend and unborn child weeks ago is saying its last goodbyes. They celebrated the life of 22-year-old Matthew Guerra earlier today as they gathered for his funeral. He and his girlfriend, 18-year-old Savanah Soto, were shot and killed just days before she was set to give birth to their child. Last week, a father and son were charged in their deaths. Tomorrow is going to be the last service for Guerra, and Savanah Soto's family tells KSAT that her funeral is going to be this Friday. Keep up to date with all of San Antonio's top news.
All right, so this Friday, which is in a couple days, they're going to be putting Savanah Soto and baby Fabian to rest. I know you guys know that I had hoped that the 3 of them could have been put to rest together. Excuse me. But that's not the case. They're not going to be put to rest together. Matthew was just put to rest. Looks like they're going to have one more viewing for him. They were able to do some major stuff. The family, because they had been in that car for so long, had thought they were not going to be able to have an open casket for Matthew Guerra. And there was a mortician that stepped in and assisted the family in fixing Matthew, so much so that he would be able to be viewed publicly. And God bless whoever did that. That's just amazing because, again, a lot of people didn't get the opportunity to tell this young man or this young lady bye. it was just a normal day, and then boom, it was all over. And very, very heartbreaking, very heartbreaking. We've all seen this, but just to bring us back, because again, this is the topic of our conversation. So without further ado, and then we're going to get into the conversation.
Tight-lipped on whether there is a third suspect in the killings of Savanah, Soto, Matthew Guerra, and their unborn son.
In a press conference, SAPD Chief William McManus did confirm investigators are looking into this portion of surveillance video, which appears to show a towel tossed into the hands of Ramon Preciado, presumably by a person inside his truck. 36 hours after the arrests of father-son suspects Ramon and Christopher Preciado, San Antonio Police Chief William McManus and Bexar County District Attorney Joe Gonzalez
I like Joe. I like Joe as the prosecutor.
Provided an update to this now weeks-long saga.
The gun, believed to be the murder weapon, has been recently recovered from the suspect's home.
Okay. Now this is where we start having our morning discussion. So just to let everybody know, oh, thank you. God bless you. God bless you for that. So whose gun was it? We have had a litany of people analyzing this. I know that I think that let's talk about the three main things that were very important once the arrest happened. Where the murders happened, where's the weapon, and where's Matthew Guerra's phone? I think the first thing we learned was that law enforcement has Matthew's and Savanah's phone. They kept this tight-lipped from everybody. I think at the beginning they had to keep it tight-lipped because that phone was an invaluable source of information. It had phone numbers, it had locations, it's just an attached GPS to somebody's body. Our phone, all of our phones are. It's, a little big brotherish, but in situations like this, we are thankful because no matter what, they would have located the car and they would have located the occupants in the car at some point. Some of these warrants take a little longer than others. I know that some warrants in these cases can take up to 2 weeks. Typically with this type of urgency, they get this stuff turned around fairly quickly. Hey, hello, Thunder. I am Team Summer, Connie Branch. Good morning, guys. Good morning. But either way, we learned that they had the phone. So that was taken off. And then we started looking at that. We did a whole, little live on that. We were here and we're like, wait a minute. It was like a light bulb flash because we had watched this interview with this police chief multiple times on several different channels and social media platforms in its entirety, right? And we still didn't grasp the fact that they had Matthew Guerra's phone in their possession, custody, and control. And we found that to be true. When we were reading the probable cause affidavit, which is very vague, I mean, we have to be honest, this is not a Brian Kohberger probable cause affidavit or arrest warrant for any reason, any stretch of the imagination. It appears that the arraignment will be on February, if I got it right, February 5th. February 5th is going to be the pretrial for both Ramon and Christopher there in San Antonio. But we're waiting. I don't even think at the pretrial hearing, I don't even know if we're going to learn a whole lot. We might, as they, speak to the judge, we might learn a little more details about the case. But for the most part, I don't think we're going to learn the real details until after the grand jury and has been presented the information. And then upon the indictment, I believe that more information will be released, predominantly the information that affected this arrest. Because right now, the way it's being said is that Christopher Preciado was meeting up with Matthew Guerra and Savanah Soto for a marijuana deal. Now, one of the things is we don't know how big this marijuana deal was. That's first and foremost, if it really even exists. Was it a quarter ounce? Was it an ounce? Was it a pound? Was it, what was it that they were delivering to this kid? That really does matter. Where they went, when did they leave their home, and when did they arrive at Christopher's home or location to do this illicit deal? We don't know that. What we know based upon the probable cause affidavit is that they were at, or at least left willingly, their apartment to go meet him. There was a search on Savanah Soto's phone that said Charlie Chan Drive, which would imply that they were going over to his home. But again, we're implying that we don't have law enforcement corroborating that. We don't know where they were actually killed. Was it inside the vehicle? Was it outside of the vehicle? Was it at their home? Was it at the AC shop? Was it down the road? Was it at this vacant lot that we are hearing about? We really don't know, because based upon this probable cause affidavit, we can only imply what they mean because it's so vague. But one of the things that we learned is that it appears that the car pulled up right around 11:50 to this Charlie Chan Drive. Because it had a crossroad of Cary Grant Drive, the Cary Grant Drive and Chris Preciado's home, where Ramon lives, is right on that corner. So because of that information, it implies that Savanah and Matthew went to his home. But we don't know that because they didn't say that. They just said the car went to that home, was there for 4 minutes, pulled out, and ended up being dumped 5 minutes later. A total of 9 total minutes from the time the car pulled up to this intersection of Charlie Chan Drive and Cary Grant Drive. Within 10 minutes of the car going to this location, the 2 people were inside that car, deceased, and the car was dumped in less than 10 minutes. So, did Christopher bring a gun with him? Or did he use Matthew's guns? These are sticking points in this investigation that many people are having a hard time understanding, because according to what Christopher told Oh, sorry, I hit a button on my my box. That was the walkie-talkie button. I'm like, what am I listening to in my ear? I'm sorry, guys. I didn't realize I hit a button, but the papers did. The papers did. Let's see here. Okay. Affiant spoke to Christopher Preciado. After Christopher Preciado was read his Miranda warnings, Christopher reported Matthew Guerra and Savanah Soto drove to his residence. So according to him, they willingly drove to his home, which goes right in line with the affiant says they were able to discover the victim's vehicle pinged near Charlie Chan Drive. We know that Christopher Preciado lived at a property on Charlie Chan Drive. So he's telling law enforcement that they both came to his home, to sell Christopher marijuana. So the drug deal, according to Christopher and this affidavit, took place at his home on Charlie Chan Drive. Christopher went on to provide his version of events that were inconsistent with the evidence collected at the scene from the victim's recovered vehicle. Christopher claims the male victim pointed a weapon at him, and Christopher was able to manipulate the weapon. One tidbit of information missing from this affidavit was, did he get into the car Or did this happen inside the residence or inside the garage? See how this little bit of information being omitted from this affidavit can cause a lot of speculation. And that speculation ends up turning into fact for somebody. And then they start peddling that as fact in these other rooms, and people start picking that up as fact. We don't know. We don't know. And again, just because Chris says that they went to his house doesn't mean they did. I truly believe it's more probable that they went to his home. It's more probable that the killings took place at the Charlie Chan address. Do we know that as fact? Unfortunately, we do not. We don't know. So he said that Matthew pointed the weapon at him, but it doesn't say whether he was inside the car or outside the car. And somehow or another, Chris was able to manipulate the weapon. Because the way he's describing it, and because we know Savanah most likely didn't get out of the car, I believe that this assault happened in the car. That would explain why the residents didn't hear the gunshot, the interior of the car, having the doors closed. It would muffle greatly the sound of any gunshot. Your car is sealed. We went through Kylie Rodney. When your windows are rolled up and your doors are closed, your car can float on water. How long? Up to 2 minutes. We learned that through Kylie Rodney. Why? Because your car is sealed. The minute you roll down that window, your car sinks to the bottom of the water like that in seconds. In seconds. So your car is fairly well sealed up. It's not completely water penetrable. Obviously, you will sink after a few minutes. But that sealing, it just shows you how well sealed most vehicles are. So it is possible but with him to have a contact wound to Savanah Soto, they would have to be in the car. It doesn't imply that Savanah Soto was out of the car. And the rub marks on the side of the car could have been him dragging Matthew out of the driver's seat and into the back seat, because there were drag marks. We know that. We've seen drug deals in the past go on. Most of them do go on in the cars if they're smaller deals. If it's a pound of freaking marijuana, they're going to take a duffel bag inside a home. They're not going to do that kind of deal out in a car. So what kind of deal was this? We need to ask those questions. We still don't know. But I did want to present something to you guys. Because this is, let me take my banner off so you guys can get a full view of what I'm discussing here. There we go. So this is the issue that we have for the gun. Right there. This is inside the car. This was taken off. This says Instagram, but this wasn't taken off Instagram. This was actually taken off his Telegram, the app that he was using to sell. There's over 36,000 subscribers to that app, and nobody's doing business on that app anymore. I mean, on his account, Flacco's, right? That was his account. That's where he was selling pills, other narcotics, other substances, all on Instagram and Telegram. I don't know how they were doing it, but I want you to look right there in the center console. He's got a stack of money. A stack of money with a rubber band around it. And what you see in the middle console is one gun loosely hanging just up there, and the other one next to his side. This is very interesting to me. So we definitely know that Matthew and Savanah have possession of multiple firearms. Multiple firearms. But that does not explain whose gun it was. So I'm sitting here thinking and trying to, play this out in my mind. I'm sure like many of you guys have done. You guys have played this over and over and over again in your mind, and how this, I mean, even taking his, like, in the most favorable light of what Christopher said. We're trying to I mean, that was the first thing we did. We looked at his, how he said this all went, right? We listened to how he said, and we played it in our minds, and we're like, okay, this doesn't make sense. There's no way that this makes sense, right? It doesn't make sense because we know human nature. We know how our bodies react because we're human. You know, he's not thinking it because he's got to spin alive for law enforcement. But we, as humans that aren't under the gun, we can rationally process this through. And we know darn good and well, if for any reason he did kill Savanah Soto too, or first, if Matthew had gotten that gun, and not only that, but again, 2 guns are here. 2 guns. Did he not have these 2 guns at the time? There's no evidence that either one of these guns were in his vehicle at the time that him and Savanah were gunned down. But we also believe the family. And the family says he does not leave home without his guns. He had already previously, from what my understanding, not in too far of a distant past, was actually shot at. So he almost became a victim of gun violence previously. So that kind of emboldens my position, not that it happened and not that it's factual and not that it's true, nor did this stuff go this way. However, to me, it's probable because you know behaviors of human beings. If somebody has previously been shot at, you're getting wind that somebody's trying to rob them. I don't think this man is leaving home without his side piece. Again, could be totally wrong with the facts, but it just doesn't seem probable. It seems at this point, this man is going to travel with his weapons. Does that mean it happened this night? No, it doesn't. But we can clearly see there are definitely weapons inside that car with an excessive amount of cash. Another thing we're assuming is that he travels like that all the time. He may not. That may have just been a photo op for that photo to post. He may never drive like that. But he seems awfully comfortable with the marijuana cigarette in his lap, smoking one, having another one rolled, the ashtray there, the money. I have to think that this was his, behavior. This is normal and customary for him. Again, there's a lot of assumptions going in my assessment, but I'm also looking at past behavior as well. And it would be my assessment. Does it mean that my assessment is factual? It has fact? No, it's my opinion. It's my assessment. My assessment is that he most likely had a gun on him that night. Does that mean that's true? No, it doesn't. It just means it's probable. It's more probable than not. So how would Chris get a hold of the guns? Very simple. I want you guys just to take a peek at that. Let's walk through what could, I want to make sure everybody in the back hears, could. If you don't know how to spell it and don't know the definition, it's C-O-U-L-D. Look it up on Google. For those that are new to this channel and probably wondering why I'm so snarky about that, I'm Bullhorn Betty. Go read about me, you'll understand. I have no patience with people, especially idiots. Not saying you're idiots, but there are people in the bushes. Now we all know that, don't we? Okay. So this is what could have happened. See if this works for you. Okay. So we're going to take what we always teach on this channel. And what we teach on this channel is that every great lie has a foundation of truth. That's what makes it such a believable lie, right? So there's a couple things that have been corroborated by this affidavit, and we can't look past, okay? One is that they left willingly from their home. They searched in the phone for Charlie Chan Drive, and Christopher acknowledges them showing up. Okay? So that is a good assessment and corroboration that we can formulate a fact that it is most likely that Savanah and Matthew went to his home. We have enough corroborating evidence to make that leap. They have the search in their phone, they have the ping on the car, and they have the corroboration of Christopher himself. So it is my assessment, and I'm going to say that at this point, this is factual, that Savanah Soto and Matthew Guerra willingly went to Christopher's home. That I can't say if that's where they were killed. We don't have that information, but I can factually say that those two willingly went to his home. So now that we all, I'm sure at some point we've all had a drug deal. We're not all innocent angels. Some of us don't. Some of us are good, believe in the Bible. You guys had your brain together when you just knew where you were going to go. You never wavered from your path, and you have done an amazing life. God bless you for keeping straight and narrow and getting from point A to point B and having no problems. God bless you for that. I wish that walk was for everybody. I truly do. And for those that have had that walk like that with no real major problems in your life, take that for everything it is worth, because that is valuable. And you are amazing, and you are very blessed. Very, very blessed. For many of us out here, we're not that blessed. We have problems in our lives. We have things that go on. And we have unthinkable pain that we have to deal with. But we've all had most of us have had the experience of our own dealings, right? Some of us have been in the back seat of that car, right? Waiting for the exchange. So we kind of know how it goes. And so now this is where the speculation is going to kind of come into place, where we're going to be wildly speculating on whose gun it is and how this whole altercation happened. And it's my opinion that Christopher would have gotten in the back of that car. It wouldn't have been Matthew getting out and going, unless it was a significant amount of marijuana. But I don't think it was that. I think that he was back there. He might have been under other substances. I mean, the stuff that these kids get a hold of these days, it's messing with their brains. Like, they're getting some really brain mind altering substances. When I was younger, we had some snow, we had some grass, and we had some alky, right? I mean, it was like we got ourselves in trouble, but we weren't worried about losing our life unless we were just crap-faced drunk and driving like a maniac in vehicles, which we were too young to even be in possession. We're hopheads, but we're too young to drive. So I mean, there is that. There is some good, some goodness there. I mean, we might have been messed up kids, but we were too young to drive. So we weren't in the, we weren't trying to kill nobody, right? We weren't trying to kill nobody out there. But we've had these exchanges in the back of cars. So now if we're looking at it from the back seat view, okay, so let's put ourselves in the back seat and look frontwards. This is what we're seeing. Now you got somebody that's not right in the head, maybe just, doesn't have the money. It's coming up to be Christmas. They're broke. They're so sick of being broke. They can't seem to make it. They just need to get this weed. They want to turn it into dime bags so they can sling it, so they can make their $15, so they can put it in their, so they can smoke. That's their free weed, right? Because a lot of these people sell to support their own without having to pay for it. Typically, not all the time. Some people are out there to make a huge amount of money like Matthew, but some people aren't. So this is his view into the front seat. He's having a bad day. Matthew Guerra may just said, hey, you don't like the shit, give it back to me here. I'll give you your money. Get the fuck out. Excuse my language. It's possible. And he's like, oh, you ain't talking to me like that, and reaches over and grabs one of those guns. Pop. Within, it's possible. This is the front scene. We didn't hear about his phone. We didn't hear about his gun. We didn't hear about his money. And we didn't hear about what? Where the marijuana that came to that to be sold, where that went. How much was it? It's not fair. We can't charge the channel for me reading the words. There was no reading of that. That came out of my mouth. Came out of my head too. But this is what I truly believe happened. I think he was in the back seat. Something did happen. And I think he reached over there and got the gun and started pulling the triggers. If he didn't bring his own gun with him. Because again, we are making a huge leap. Assuming that the gun was Matthew's. But if it is Matthew's, we need to find out how Christopher got his hands, his ugly mugs on that gun. Because that has been my question since this affidavit came out. How did he get a hold of the gun? If this is true, this is how he got a hold of the gun. They weren't secured. They were loosely laying around the car. And here, there are two guns. Although law enforcement said they found the gun that they believe killed both Savanah and Matthew, doesn't mean they didn't find more guns. Because again, they don't let us know squat. Just like they didn't let us know they had Matthew Guerra's phone, just like they didn't let us know that they had Savanah's phone, just like they didn't let us know about the video until they absolutely had to release it. And this is one video of many, right? It is one video of many. Because if we were to look at the site maps, we know there's cameras all over the place. We know there's cameras literally all over the place. This is in and around the area. Cameras everywhere. Trust me, law enforcement has videos. They know which way they traveled. They know which way they came into that apartment complex. They know which way they left, which way they turned. They literally know everything. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about whether or not they have more videos related to this. I bet you they probably have videos of them leaving their community. Now, while we can't express or explain whose gun truly shot them, if we were to take all the pieces of the puzzle and put them together, it is leaning that it is most likely, we're going to most likely learn that this gun truly, in fact, was Matthew Guerra's gun. At this point, looking at the evidence, looking at the information, I believe now, because I told you I was on the fence with it. Now, granted, there might be new information that's released because at the end of the day, it could very well be Chris's gun. It could very well be Ramon's gun. But this would explain how everything in that car happened within 4 minutes because everything was right there in that car. It happened so quickly because everything that was needed was there. Now, the question is, was Christopher really, truly being robbed? And I just still don't believe it. I believe, my personal belief on this is that definitely believe he called them over for a marijuana deal. But I think the marijuana deal was a decoy. It was the red herring. I think that was, he had it I think he had it in his mind before they pulled up. He wanted whatever they had on them: money, guns, drugs. He wanted it all. But again, that's still making a leap. Because what if there was some hostility or something, or the kid was mad because he felt shorted, or maybe it was a short from a previous deal that was supposed to be made right in this deal. There's a lot of conjecture here. We don't have enough information to determine what truly happened. Heck, we barely even have enough information to barely even put the victims at that house. But we do have just enough. We do have just enough to know that the victims purposefully drove themselves to Christopher's home. There's enough evidence to support that they went to that home, that they were at his house, not down the road, not at the air conditioning place, at his home. There's enough information here to say that as fact. There's enough information here now because the police chief let us know that they had the phones. We can now state that as fact. We can now state that both of victims received contact gun wounds to the head, which kind of obliterate the statements of Chris Preciado, because if you're wrestling with the gun should be further away from your body than that, unless you're fighting in that car. That car is close quarters, folks. It's close quarters. It's close quarters. So if an altercation did happen, truth is stranger than fiction. The 2 bullets behind the ears are too coincidental for me. That's the execution factor of it. That's the premeditation factor of it for me. That's what made me start looking at this as premeditated versus not, because you've got execution type wounds to both victims. Whether this guy was the grand, the mastermind of this, or just a putz that just happened to get it right. It doesn't matter. We have 2 people dead with execution style wounds. It tells me that there's a little more going on here than just a drug deal that went wrong, in my opinion. Again, this is all conjecture. This is all speculative. This is not to be taken as fact by any stretch of the imagination. This is just to have the conversation surrounding the gun. So now that I presented everything that I really kind of wanted to present to you, I'm going to open the phones and panel. So the people that would like to come up here, if they have something to share, they'll be able to share it for the audience. We'll put it up on the big screen. But I wanted to give you guys options of coming up here. I know there's some people that have their own true crime podcast channels, other true crime channels that might have some information, might be also doing this research, might want to express your information. Please don't be shy. You're more than welcome to come up on panel and just talk about it. I'm going to open up the phones. Let me get the phones now open. All right. And the phones are now officially open. So you guys have 2 options here. If mods want to copy that StreamYard link, please do, and pass it around periodically. I'd greatly appreciate it. Let me just throw it back in here one more time. There you go. If you'd like to come up here, and again, just discuss this whole gun situation. How do you think Chris Preciado got a hold of the gun? Well, I guess we need to go back to, do you believe that this is Chris's gun or Matthew's gun, or somebody else, a third party like Ramon's? I want to know that. And then if, depending on that answer, I want to know why you feel that way and how you feel this could have happened. I know a lot of people have been speculating wildly in their own brains for some time. I know it because I've done it. because I've done it. This is Betty. I am doing well. Who's this and where are you calling from? Oh, Southern Grammy. How are you doing? Thank you for the email and giving me an update. It was awful yesterday. Yeah. Give me just a second. They're saying they can't hear you for some reason. I don't know why. Hold on a second. Oh, I hold on just a second. I haven't added you to the call. There we go.
Okay.
All right, there we go. All right, now they can hear you now. So we've got Southern Grammy Wolf on the phone, and she's just saying hi to everybody. I didn't realize she wasn't added to the chat, so she can hear. Everybody can hear you now.
Hello, my friend.
So what do you think with this whole case? First, it's a bizarre case. So tell me, kind of bring me to, your emotional roller coaster ride from the beginning to where we are now and what you think now that you have all this additional information.
So I have a brand new grandnephew, and sitting next to him on Sunday and looking at him, he's just over a month, and then thinking about what happened in this case, it's pretty emotional, and I hate to sound selfish to say how grateful I am, but at the same time, it was very emotional to sit there and see this precious baby and then think about, what this family is experiencing. I have started volunteering with who. So students with children are just, I think, a little more sensitive to me with everything I'm training on. And I got it into my last training and was talking to the two ladies that I'm training with, kind of about the situation, with what Matthew was involved in and how that kind of looks when there's a child, expected to be brought in. But besides that, I kind of agree with you. I think Chris actually snatched that weapon. My big thing that I can't picture is how one person was able to shoot them both contact and in the same location, because personally, somebody had to fight back. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of which one would have been, like, if they were both in the vehicle, regardless of which one was taken out. I mean, there were two of them. So if he had one and had the weapon pulled against them, and I'm just visualizing things you see in crime shows or in past, experiences. But that person's not just going to stay completely sitting in their seat waiting to be shot the same way. So, and there's going to be some sort of movement, like your gut reaction is going to be to move away. If he had snatched it and then reached around the headrest and had this person and had it to their head, the other person is gonna move. They're not just gonna sit there, waiting. So it's just very strange. And he just doesn't look like somebody who, and I mean, granted, I don't know him. I don't know what kind of episode he was having or what kind of adrenaline rush, but I'm thinking,
What if he just did it so quick they didn't even have time to react?
I mean, I just can't see it being that quick. Like, I've been thinking about it, and I'm like, it'd be one thing if they were, because I believe somebody said they were both shot in the same location. It'd be one thing if it was like one side and then the opposite side for the other person, where, you know, like between that space where he could have reached up and obtained the weapon. But
Yeah,
to
there's
get
definitely
around,
something. So whose weapon do you think the gun belonged to that killed them?
I really am leaning towards um, Matthew just had it laying and he was able to grab it.
That's kind of how I didn't know, because I thought maybe he had it in his, like a holster or in his pants. Sometimes they put them in the pockets, like we saw that kid on the stairs at that apartment complex. He had his gun in his back pocket. So I kept wondering, and then I started doing research, and I just kept paying attention. And when I saw that photo of inside his car, it kind of kind of married the possibility together.
Because you have to think about, even when you see videos of perpetrators wrestling police and getting a weapon from a holster or whatever, that is not easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, and even if he had the weapon drawn, him and Matthew would have battled it out to get that weapon. I just don't see Matthew not having pulled the trigger if he was trying to take it from him. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe Matthew was extremely intoxicated and was, if he did draw it and just, but I don't think that would be the case. And the other thing is, he had to be very relaxed, because I think about when I was young and people I knew, and they wouldn't have taken a 9-month pregnant girlfriend to something unless they were extremely comfortable.
This kid was
And
19 years old. Who would have thought a recently graduated high schooler would be capable of this? Like, even at 18, I would have never even considered it.
well, I mean, in the area they're in, I would think you would have to be aware that anyone could be, I mean, they're even using drones now to send up and check out surroundings before, to make sure they're not being set up or jumped or whatever. I've heard some people they use drones to check out the area before they actually, pull anything out. But
Drug dealers using drones to check. Like, and even our drug dealers are getting technical. I'm sorry, I just
I
find
mean, I
comedy
guess
in
it
that.
depends how smart they are and how, what they're doing. But I mean, there are smart people out there trying to make their money.
That's true. I'm surprised that
I
people are so. There was a time back in the day when I was growing up, internet tracking is not like they got now, and we would have never, ever put anything like that on social media. Like, I am like so terrified. I would think that people would be terrified of being of the government coming and tracking them down, but I guess the government's asleep at the wheel or something.
mean, you weren't braggadocious back in the day, but you know why? Because they actually did something about it. Nowadays, these people are not afraid of consequences, or, and they've gotten so technical with ways out of things. And I think the biggest thing with this is we've got to keep looking at the time frame. With such a little amount of time, I don't see how it could have happened anywhere besides the home. Just because, unless the dad is extremely more involved than we're hearing he is, because you have to think about it, he would have had to eliminate that. Then he would have had to call dad. Then he would have had and get enough information for dad to load up in the truck. And that's a big boy. It takes him a minute to load up in that truck.
So then that's going to bring me back.
And then get it moved.
So that's going to bring me back to another question. Is dad more involved than what we're being led to believe, because I mean, a body had to be moved, and if we can deduct that they were at that home, you know, Matthew is a much bigger person than Chris. And did his dad help him put the body in the car?
Because I know everyone's been saying, what if it didn't happen in the car? What if Matthew was outside and Savanah was inside? It just makes it, I think if we can get a confirmation of where they were both exactly shot at, we would be able to piece together more. But I do believe Dad has more knowledge than he's saying, because it either happened at the house or he helped with setting it up, and this is kind of just the scapegoat, or Dad sent him out and he was trying to prove something to Dad.
I think the reason why they're picking on old Dad, because we've watched a lot of parents do a lot of stuff for their children. I think that the reason why Ramon is in jail is because he had more of a hand in the disposal than many people want to acknowledge or believe. That's really truly, that's probably why the third person, they probably didn't handle a body. The father probably did. That's probably why they're trying to use the third person as a witness versus another co-defendant, potentially.
And I do believe that, they may not have even known what they were walking into. They may have just got in the car and went along for the ride and had no idea what they were about to be a part of. But what trips me up is Chris was did this. B was seeing it all over TV and sat at home.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't try and get away. Didn't try and hide. Didn't try and anything. And they had to have seen, once that video hit, I would think that would be a clear sign. Oh, I want to get out of Dodge.
Well, they didn't get rid of the car.
I was afraid of retaliation. The truck was parked right in front of the house. I mean,
yeah. No, they didn't try to destroy. They didn't try to get rid of the murder weapon. They didn't try to get rid of the evidence. They didn't try to hide the truck at say his business and him start driving a business truck home. Like, they didn't take any precautions whatsoever after they dumped the car not to be found, which is a little odd to me.
It's very odd. Not only that, Dad opened the door and was like, "Oh, I know why you're here. Go talk to my son. How about, hey, you can't talk to my son until he's got an attorney?" Or, I mean, it's just
all these days that went by, knowing that they were just minutes away from somebody knocking on their door, and they didn't even bother consulting an attorney before this. Potentially, we don't know. I mean, they could have, for all we know, but doesn't sound like they did.
No, and Chris keeping his mouth shut, and Dad's arrogantly talking crazy to these reporters. I mean, I could not believe sitting there and watching that.
Yeah.
And him, when he said fake news, I was like,
that was insulting.
How can you be so hateful? And then to keep saying the stuff he said, I'm like, you have absolute, and he knew by this time, he knew about that baby. He knew their family was looking and what was out there. He had to have watched it, had to have seen all this stuff, and then to come off so condescending and arrogant like that. And that's a big reason why I do feel like, again, he had more to do with it, and he ordered Chris to keep his mouth shut, but then he ran his.
Yeah, because Dad brought a whole host of issues into that household, but that's all the time we have for you, Southern Grammy. I appreciate it. I had some people calling in, and I want to get through some of the conversations.
Absolutely. Have a good rest of the day. It's good to
You
talk to you.
too. It's always so nice to speak to you. I always enjoy it. So thank you so much for calling in.
No problem. Have a good day.
Bye-bye, honey.
Bye.
All right, Connie, I believe it was you trying to call in. The phones are open. Yep, the phones are open. So if you want to call back, I've seen Rusty's in the chat room today. So we're talking about the Savanah Soto case, Rusty. I know I hadn't seen you here out in Southern Grammy. It's always so nice to speak to you. I love it. I love it. But I looked at the time; it was getting up to 15 minutes, and I'm like, whoa. It didn't seem like that long at all. It didn't seem like that long at all, but we can chat. I can tell you what, we can chat. So Connie, if you want to call back up and express your comments, I think that was you. I for whatever reason, it seemed like it was you, but maybe it wasn't. Anyways, for those that want to know what they are calling in for, we are going over whether or not the gun is Christopher's, Ramon's, or Matthew's. I presented my position on this based upon the information that I've acquired through interviews, the affidavit, as well as some other odds and ends and photos of Matthew, the inside of the car. Oh! I forgot to tell you, some of our conversation, I don't know how I forgot to show you this or where it was because I sent it to myself. I just must not have. There is no bullets coming out of that car. There's no bullets coming out of that car. I wanted to show you guys this. I found it. I wanted to show you this because I did find it. It's probably going to want to go into there it is. I wanted to show you this. I did find it. Oops. Don't call in. Oops. Let me share this. Thank goodness somebody wasn't calling in right when I did that. I'm so sorry. I do that. You gotta be careful with Bullhorn Betty. Gotta be careful. There it is. No back window broke out. No windows throughout the entire car were shot out or broke out. I know a lot of people were wondering because they said the back window was broken out. I did find a clip where the back window is not busted out. There was no, I'm not saying no bullets did not fly in that car or did not get wedged somewhere in that car, especially since many of us believe that Savanah Soto was, killed inside the car. I do believe that. I don't believe she ever left her seat. I think that's where she was when she got in the car. That's where she was when she showed up over at that property. And that's where she was when she got killed. That's just my opinion. It doesn't mean that it's true. It's just the way I'm evaluating this case and I'm evaluating the information that I'm seeing. I believe she never left that passenger seat. So everything happened, at least her, and there's the possibility also, just FYI, there is the possibility of her being shot in the car immediately and Matthew being ordered out of the car. But there's just something there's two things that I can equate to neighbors not hearing the gunshot. One is the timing, because it was going into the middle of the night. There would have probably been very limited people on the road at that time or out of their house, because I looked in that neighborhood and it looks like there are a lot of, blue collar workers in that neighborhood. So I would anticipate that a lot of them had to get up that next morning and go to work. With that being said, it is possible that people were just sleeping. And it's possible that people actually woke up around midnight and didn't realize why they were woke up. There is that as well. So I don't know how I feel about the gunshots. That doesn't mean a whole lot. We went over the statistics. Bexar County, statistically for crime, is under the national average. The problem is San Antonio is just the opposite. That one county inside Bexar County is over the national average with all types of crime, including violent crime, homicide, R's, SA's, all of that. Violent crimes are through the roof in San Antonio. I know here in my house, I'm not too far from a really bad area, within a mile or two. And I can hear some of the shenanigans that goes on in that community 2 miles away. So, but do I pay attention to it? No, I don't. Do I hear noises that I don't know where they come from? Yes, I do. Do I equate every loud noise that I hear to a gun? No, I don't. Is it? Could it be? Yes, it could be. I just don't know. I'm just not equating it to that. So I have to apply those same things, those same standards with this case. Okay, well, this is what I'm going to do. We're going to be coming back later this afternoon. We've got a whole lot of new information and some stuff that we want to have a discussion on related to the Brian Kohberger case. Okay, this is the Idaho 4. For those that are new to my channel, I've done several tours out to Idaho. I had the privilege of personally interviewing Steve and Christy and Olivia Gonzalez. Well, it's Stevenson. I think Olivia's name is Stevenson. But, the parents and the sister of Kaylee Gonzalez, we had a whole different assessment of the case really early on. We identified that it was most likely nobody that anybody was focusing on at the time. We were one of the first people that brought up Wazoo. We were actually out there and brought Wazoo into the mix days before any other news organization brought it up. And then a few days after we went over to the Wazoo campus, we find out that the assailant that's responsible for the crime, allegedly, Brian Kohberger, actually went to Washington State University. Kind of blew my mind. I have to be honest with you. But, it's where our investigation out there led us. And with that being said, that'll be this afternoon. I'm not sure exactly what time I'm going to go, if it's going to be a 4:30 or a 6:30, but I have to think that I probably will be bringing that live to you between 3:30 and 4:30 this afternoon. So if that's something you're interested in, you're not going to want to miss it. There is something we did miss in the Brian Kohberger case. What does it mean? It's important. You're not going to want to miss this afternoon's episode here on Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. Oh, God bless you. It's me, Jen. And I'm serious, Jen. If your friends need some help with that case, send me over. I'm happy to put it up on my channel. Anything I can do to help the missing, I'm absolutely happy to help with, especially when it comes to the people of this country. So, all right, guys. Well, we're over. We're done. That was really all I had to present to you. Whose gun is it? I truly believe it was Matthew's because of the information that we have. I don't think Chris had access to a gun. It didn't sound like his father would have been able to have possession of a gun, because it sounds to me like his father was already previously charged in felonies and may not have had his right to own a gun. So I have to believe that inside that home, it was probably a gun-free zone. But again, I can't make that determination. I don't know what goes on behind those closed doors. All I know is that we learned from multiple sources, Matthew does not leave without his gun on him. He was previously shot, which almost emboldens that position. And we see there are 2 guns inside that car with a lot of cash. And for a young person that's broke and doesn't have any prospects, that looks like an easy target and an easy way to get some money, drugs, and guns. So I really think that Chris did this. I think it was planned. I think it was premeditated. And I think he killed 2 people for things. I don't think it had shit to do with the marijuana or the drugs. I don't think Matthew was ripping him off. I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. So anyways, guys, don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, first and foremost. But I want you guys to be kind to one another. I know in this world, a lot of these cases can be emotional for us, and it can get us on the wrong side of things. But we have integrity, we have character, we have class, and we have heart. We have heart. And so we know that these things get a little sticky and touchy, and we have emotions. So we need to treat everybody with kindness. We say no to online bullying and online harassment. We say no to violence, domestic or otherwise. We say yes to people getting involved in their community and doing what's right because it's the right thing to do. It feels good to do good, and I hope you guys advocate for your causes in your own community, making your slice of paradise a little bit sweeter and a little bit brighter. God bless, take care, and have an amazing day. Happy Hump Day, folks! Happy Hump Day!
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.